Dear viewers, today we are privileged to have Br.Godwin Ogam, Capuchin friar from Uganda, the custody of St. Charles Wanga. Br.Godwin.
I'm good.
You're good. So today we have come to interview Br.Godwin.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Brother Thomas and his media team for the Capuchins. Want to know how I've journeyed in my life within the 25 years of my Capuchin calling. It is all up to you what exactly you want to know from me.
So that's the Capuchin media team, and my name is Brother Thomas, who will be doing this interview with Br.Godwin, and the cameraman we have Brother Morris Kule, he's there behind in the studio. So Br.Godwin, today we want to know what inspired you in religious life. What really inspired you when you were still studying in primary? How was the calling to you to come to feel the call of the religious life and then
It is hard to say exactly what inspired me to join the religious life. Because right from the beginning, my desire was to become a priest. I remember when I was in primary 5, my teacher who was teaching us SST was asking us, each member in the class, what do you want to become in future? And I told him I want to become a priest. If not a priest, a lawyer. And those two vocations were my interest all through my life. So at a certain point when I became a priest and going for studies to Rome, my desire was still to do law. Yeah, because I knew within the priesthood I could still do law, but unfortunately things are folding themselves differently. So the desire to become a priest all was the attraction I was getting from the then seminarians of my home parish, who were very smart, very intelligent in ways of doing things. So I just wanted to be like them. Yeah, just to be like them. The priesthood was a different thing, but I wanted to
Now, Br.Godwin, when you came to Formation House, till the day you have until the day
apply to join the Capuchins. My aspiration, much as I wanted to be a priest, I was a candidate to the Comboni missionaries. Till when I was called to go for my come and see in Ginger, but I delayed 3 days without going. You know, those days the conflict in the north made transport very difficult, and I delayed to go. So when I reached Ginger, I was just sent back home because of the 3 days delay, and I was to wait again for another year. Then eventually, as I went back home, I got a student who knew my desire to go to the seminar, and he had gone for mass that morning, so he found the leaflets of the Capuchins, and that is how I applied to join the Capuchins. Yeah, but it was not my priority. I didn't know them. So I was a candidate to the seminary of the Comboni Fathers, but eventually found myself.
Comboni intention to the Capuchins. So how was it when you joined Mirende? Yes, Mirende, the religious life, the Capuchin way of life. How was it?
Yeah, I think joining the Capuchins, I applied, and it was, I think it was really the vocation and the order where God was directing me to. Much as post office used to delay those days, letters, you could send a letter and it may even take a year without reaching the destination. But I applied, and the whole communication between my application and the response were just within 3 weeks. So I was called to come and see to Busunju. I'd never been to Busunju. So we reached Busunju, and I got Brother Remigius Casablanca. He had just arrived 10 minutes before me. We stayed there for about 30 minutes. Then we were given tea with the cocoa. You can imagine tea with the cocoa to take. Yeah. And we had our tea and the cocoa there. Then by 6:30 we were taken to the so-called seminary to Mirembe. But we had gone to St. Joseph because St. Joseph was more nearer to the town. And that is where they were directing the candidates to go because it was easier to reach there. Now, going to Mirembe, in my mind I knew the seminary is a well-established place with everything, a big place. But reaching Mirembe in the bush, a small house was there where we began our lives. And heaps of bricks were there, and the novitiate building was there with some two brothers there doing their novitiate. Much as it was a place which looked so strange for me, not organized, without any system. Every morning we had to go, dig, come back, pray, afternoon again in the garden. It was just work. It was just work. There was no sign of any seminary training there. But still we did not lose hope. We knew that that was the beginning to something. So that is how we began our life. It was not a seminary that you would think of as we are going to Kinyamasika today, but it was just a home, a beginning of a home. That is what I would say, because there was practically nothing there, and nothing that could really attract somebody if it was something external to attract you to that formation. There was nothing attractive, but we began everything like from zero. Much as the novitiate block was there, and the so-called St. Felix Nursery is where we started our formation. 9 of us there in that small house, together with the 2 formators. So everything was just in that small, what we call St. Felix there now. Yes, that's where we started.
Formation with our first Indian brothers. How did you experience it when you came from home to experience to stay with the new brothers from different cultures? How was it?
Yeah, much as the beginning, formation is a process, and it is you, the candidate, to frame up, to style up, and get into the system where you want to be, because we don't come to change anything, but we just come to form ourselves into the system which is already there. It was a little bit challenging with the different cultures, but since my will and desire was to become a priest, I had to conform myself with the demands of the time. But I did not find it very challenging. Much as I am saying, it was work and prayer, no studies. Because what we used to be studying there, just some few classes here and there, catechism, most of the things which we had already known. So it was basically work and some prayers. I did not find it very challenging because work was not a new thing for me. Prayer was not a new thing for me. The background from which I was coming was already a background of prayer from home itself, and work was not something new for me. And since my desire was that to become a priest, and I've got where I'm being formed, I had to conform myself with the demands of the time and the formation.
Brother, when that stage of postulants in Uganda ended successfully, there was that stage of going to novitiate that outside the borders of the country.
I did not do novitiate outside Uganda. My novitiate was there itself at Mirembe.
At Mirembe?
Yes, I started postulants at Mirembe, postulants 2 years in Mirembe. Then novitiate 1 year there at Mirembe. Then post-novitiate there at St. Joseph again, whereby I used to come back again to the postulants house in Mirembe to teach the brothers there.
Okay, after that one, but for philosophy, that one I believe and I know there was much joy that you had that is going to Lusaka.
Mm.
You know, we are proud when they say, we see the
Going abroad.
circular coming that we are going to Lusaka for philosophy. So, Brother Ganga, the first beneficiary to go to Lusaka. How was that the joy to hear that you're going to Lusaka outside the country for studies? And how was it there?
Yes, the joy was big, and to go and study abroad, not just seminary, but we knew we were going to the university. Yeah, it was a big joy for me to go out of Uganda for the first time. And when we went to Lusaka, it was still a great moment because the degree course started with us in Lusaka. And it gave me a lot of experience still to put more effort to study hard because I didn't want to miss that come back here with a diploma when the chance is given for a degree. So that was the time the affiliation to Antonianum University Rome began. But it was all a big excitement for me to leave Uganda and to go and study outside because that was my wish. Yeah, I never dreamt of joining a diocesan priesthood. I wanted to be a missionary and a missionary to go around the world. So Lusaka offered for me the chance to begin.
That was good. Then from Lusaka to Nairobi. You have been in Nairobi or Tanzania?
I was in Tanzania, in Morogoro. Though often we could come to Nairobi, especially when we were getting back to Uganda.
Okay, so Brother Godwin Lusaka for philosophy. And he has told us the experience, the excitement of being outside the borders. Now, Brother Godwin also happened to study in Tanzania, but the university will tell us by himself, can tell us. Which university was it, sir?
I was with the Salvatorians. Now they call it Jordan University. By then it was called the Salvatorian Institute of Philosophy and Theology.
So that's where you did your theology, a degree.
In which case I'm not a dull student. Both philosophy and theology, mania cum laude.
Yes. So now that was the part of formation, and we really see that it was really a joyous moment. So, Brother Godwin, now you heard that you're going to be a baby.
Discernment to the priesthood is a gradual process. I did not find excitement in being ordained. Much as I was moving all through the formation, but ordination did not give me excitement. Because, as I've always been explaining to you people sometimes we are more preoccupied with the promotions, passing exams, and other things that should push us forward towards the priesthood. But at the end of it all, I think when I was almost becoming a deacon, I remember in Tanzania, a bit of worries entered in me, where I was questioning my uncle, what am I really doing? Where am I going? Is this really what God wants me to do? So it was a very heavy evening for me, without much excitement, much as people had come to witness my ordination to diaconate, but personally, there was no joy in me. There was no joy in me because I was questioning myself a lot. But thanks be to God, I got encouragement from my uncle, Father Ben, who encouraged me and told me those are experiences of many. But later, and it is part of the discernment, and it is good that those thoughts are coming into your mind to begin again the process of discernment. Therefore, ordination to the diaconate was very challenging. It was not really a moment of joy, but a moment of questioning myself more and more. What really do I want in this life?
Last year, the religious profession. So how did you feel when they told you you're going to the religious order of Capuchins? Because now, much of these habits we are putting on, we are Capuchins. So I want to feel that one, and the viewers want to hear. How did you feel on the day they told you now, Brother Godwin, you'll be taking final vows that means you are a full member of the Order of Friars Minor Capuchins.
Yeah, final vows was more, taking final vows was more exciting for me. Yeah, because knowing that we are struggling, endeavoring through formation to reach somewhere, to become members, fully pledged members in the order. That was more exciting, brought more excitement for me, because I knew with the final vows, as you call it, that there is a tumor. So I knew nobody could move me unless it is me and maybe some limitations here and there. Yeah, but with the final vows, really, I got excitement and the stability that I'm now a member in this order. Yeah, and of course, it was also more challenging because you become a member. A member now, you are to show yourself that you are a member. So it was a promotion line that comes again with a bigger challenge, yes, to try to look more deep into yourself, what you wish to do really.
Now looking at since you took the first vows up to now, and we shall be on 31st, we shall be celebrating your silver jubilee. That means 25 years in religious life.
Yes.
So how has been the journey?
The journey has been good. The journey has been good. I don't regret anything. I don't blame anybody. Neither do I have any remorse, yeah, for my religious journey till now. And it is not that I'm celebrating my own achievement, no. I'm celebrating the grace of perseverance, and above all, the grace of God that has been working in me and still working. That is why if you see my souvenir to the ordination, I put there, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. And when you go, I think in my profile for other things, you'll just find that statement always. My grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. So it is not a milestone of achievement. Is a milestone of celebrating the grace of God in you working through us.
Now, how has it been your ministry? You can see you have done in it. How have the ministry, because you have been in parishes, you know, see that today we are staying with you. It is a privilege. That's why we feel calm when we are with you.
Yeah. In my priesthood, any priest would desire a pastor work in the parish. I never worked in the parish as a priest. When I was a deacon, I was in the parish for 3 months. I was ordained, went back to the parish for 1 month. Then I was brought to the formation house as a director of Cosmos. And I served there till from 2009 to 2011. Then I left for Rome for studies, and when I came back again to the formation. So pastoral work in the parish here in Uganda, I've never experienced much, other than just being called to go and assist. Yeah, I would talk of maybe the pastoral that I go and do in the US, in the parishes, and then the pastoral experience abroad is not like the pastoral experience we have here. Therefore, I have no much experience in pastoral work the way we do it here, because I've been more in the formation and in administration. But in general, much as I've not been in the parish, but I'm doing the priestly ministry. Yeah, you know, within the priesthood, the vocation to religious life, there is always a vocation within a vocation. That which I do, which you may not be able to do. That which you may be able to do and I will never do it. So it is good that we discover those kind of vocations within a vocation, which will give you fulfillment or gives me fulfillment. And until now, much as I've not worked in the parish, I find a lot of fulfillment being in the formation house and doing some other little ministries here and there. That gives me a lot of fulfillment. And I prefer being in a formation house than in a parish.
In a formation house?
Yeah. But not as a director. As a member in the formation house, that's perfect for me.
You were a custos Uganda, and by that time we were in a transition from our brothers from India with the to bring the custody to now.
Yeah, it is not always easy to pick up from someone and carry on with it. Yeah, the transition from the Indian brothers to us was not something easy. And especially myself becoming a custos was something I never expected, because I'd never been in any leadership office or in the order. I was not even a guardian. I was not even a leader in a WhatsApp group. So I was not anything. So, yeah, I just found myself there. It is something that I never dreamt of. Neither did I desire or whispered in the ears of some brothers that I want to be a custos or elect me. No, it was not my desire. In fact, to the contrary, all my votes were going to the former superior, to Futado, because I knew he's the one to lead us. But God put me there, and God did his work. I don't claim to have done anything, because I look at the fears with which he came in. It gives me clarity that God works through our limitations and weaknesses, because it was not me who did anything, but God did his work. Yeah, and I pray that he continues doing his work. Yeah.
Okay, brother. Now see where we are sitting here. It is the Fort Portal Capuchin Theologicum, St. Francis of Assisi, Fort Portal. Now, brother, you are the champion of this theologicum in Uganda, because all along the brothers were studying in Nairobi, in Tanzania, but now we are blessed to have a theologicum in Uganda, which are seeing masses, evangelizing on social media. They are following us. How did you have that inspiration that even as Capuchins in Uganda, we can have a theologicum which has indeed taken off and it is doing well?
There were two things that inspired me. Two. One, it was very challenging. I think 2017, we could not get place in Nairobi to send our brothers. 2017, no, not 2017, 2016. Yeah, the Nairobi was full. Then the expenses also in the formation is quite big, especially Nairobi is quite expensive. Then because we could not find place in Nairobi, something was coming in my mind. Why can't we have our own place, theology? And that would also help us to grow, and also expand and have something that we call ours, that we also have theology in Uganda. Then secondly, the attitude of the brothers, newly ordained. Remember, you asked me about my excitement when I went to the circle. Sometimes being trained outside, somebody comes back, including me when I came back. We don't understand, we were not understanding the reality on the ground. And I found the same thing was with the brothers who were being ordained coming from outside. Sometimes the concrete situation on the ground they were not understanding. Like you now, when you are ordained, you are put in a parish somewhere, you will understand it more, because you have studied within the environment of your pastor. So there you come with the old pride of coming from abroad. With the old pride of coming from abroad, and you are pushed to go and work in Arua. Now, those kind of things, they were there. And I thought maybe if we do our theology locally here, holidays we are going to those places where we are going to work, and we are doing it locally in Uganda, it will cool us a bit here. Yeah, I thought the major issue was to cut the cost, the cost, because the cost outside was too much.
So, brother, as we come to an end of this interview, so, brother, which advice would you give to a younger, vibrant,
You young brothers,
younger, vibrant brother who's still there with a vocation burning, then religious life, then Capuchin life, and we who are already in the formation coming up, which advice would you give us?
Yeah, the vocation to religious life, especially to Capuchins, is not something that you can regret. Neither can I regret. It is very good. It is a good vocation that God has given me, and it is a good vocation that God has given you, and it is a good vocation that God is giving someone there who wills to join us. One thing is doing what is right, what you are convinced about. If you are convinced that this is right, do it. Appreciation may not be there, even from the formators, or from you as brothers are in the formation, or from other brothers with whom we live. That conviction of doing what is right. Independent thinking, which must of course give space for others also. That is, I think, that has been my strength. And I think that should be also your strength as we journey in your vocation.
Thank you very much, Brother Godwin. So I've been with Brother Godwin, and this is the Capuchin Media Uganda. We have been pleased to have Brother Godwin to tell us how he has traveled with his journey from the time he felt the inspiration up to now that he's going to celebrate the Silver Jubilee in religious life. He has worked in different offices, he has gone in different countries for studies, and now we are blessed to have him in a formation like this, in a strong formation. The Capuchin Theologicum is the rector of the Theologicum of the Capuchins in Uganda. And those who wish to join us, you have seen an example that one of our elders is now telling us what he has passed through, and is indeed testifying that things are working out. So I cannot forget to tell you to subscribe and follow us on all our social handles, and you give us the followers. And those who wish to come and join us, you're most welcome. I have been Brother Br.Godwin, who have taken this part of interviewing the Brother Godwin, and I'm very happy. And I think this is a blessing. And behind us, the camera, that is Brother Morris, who has taken this video. We are very glad. Brother Godwin, thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
And then next time when you invite you, please come and be with us.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
brother.
We wish you a blessed evening.
And the courage. We wish that in 25 years, we keep giving similar stories, much better than ours, and a better experience with the life, in the religious life, and the growth of the pastor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.